F had always been the pride of his school. A straight-A student with dreams of becoming an engineer, he carried the hopes of his struggling family. His father, a retired teacher, often said, "F, you are our light." His mother, a petty trader, sacrificed daily to ensure he had everything he needed for school. Teachers admired him, students envied him, and his younger siblings looked up to him. But lately, something had changed. His best friend, Jonah, was no longer the same boy he had grown up with. Jonah, once as ambitious as F, had started skipping school and spending time in internet cafes with boys known for their fast money schemes. He now had the latest sneakers, expensive phones, and an attitude that unsettled F. One afternoon, F confronted Jonah outside the school gate. "Where are you getting all this money from?" he asked, his tone serious. Jonah chuckled and tapped his iPhone screen. "Easy money, bro. The internet is a goldmine." F frowned. He had heard stories about Yahoo boys, young men who scammed foreigners online. Could Jonah be one of them? He prayed it wasn't true, but deep down, doubt gnawed at him. That night, he tossed and turned, haunted by a question he couldn't ignore: was Jonah too far gone to be saved? The next few weeks were filled with whispers. Jonah's sudden wealth had become the talk of the school. Some students admired him, while others were suspicious. "Jonah don't hammer," some boys said, meaning he had struck gold. Others claimed he had clients overseas, people he tricked into sending money. F refused to believe it at first. But when Jonah arrived at school in designer clothes and with a new gold chain, F knew the rumors were true. During lunch break, F pulled Jonah aside. "Tell me the truth. Are you into Yahoo? Jonah smirked. "Why are you acting like a saint? Look around, F. Everyone is struggling. You're here killing yourself with books, but me? I'm making money." F clenched his fist. "This isn't right, Jonah. What if you get caught?" Jonah laughed. "Caught by who?" "The police. They don't care. Half of them collect bribes from boys like us. And guess what? Some of our teachers do it too." F felt sick. His best friend was changing before his eyes, and he didn't know how to stop him. F tried to ignore Jonah's lifestyle, but it wasn't easy. The distractions at school grew worse. Jonah no longer attended classes, and when he did, he mocked the teachers. He started treating school like a joke. One evening, F sat at his desk, staring at his books. His final exams were a few months away, but he couldn't focus. Jonah's words kept ringing in his head. "School won't make us rich." When the test results came out, F was shocked. His grades had dropped badly. His once perfect record was ruined. At home, his father frowned at the report card. "F, what's happening? This isn't like you." F swallowed hard. He couldn't tell them the truth. That his best friend was dragging him into a world he barely understood. That night, he made a decision: he had to save Jonah before it was too. One Saturday afternoon, Jonah called F. "Come over, I want to show you something." F hesitated but eventually agreed. When he arrived at Jonah's house, he was stunned. The small room where Jonah once lived had been transformed. A flat-screen TV, expensive perfumes, and designer sneakers lay scattered around. "How did you afford all this?" F asked. Jonah grinned and pointed to his laptop. "Let me show you." F watched as Jonah typed rapidly, chatting with a client on Facebook. Within minutes, the foreign man sent Jonah $500. F's heart pounded. "You lied to him." Jonah shrugged. "It's just a game, bro. These people have money to waste. Why should we suffer?" For the first time, F felt tempted. The money was real. The luxury was real. But was it worth his future? F left Jonah's house troubled. He couldn't shake off the images of wealth, the sneakers, the money, the confidence Jonah had. For days, he battled with himself. Was he being foolish by holding on to school? One evening, Jonah visited F's house. "Bro, why are you stressing? Just try it once. You don't even have to do the scamming yourself. Just help me write convincing emails. You're a genius with words. I'll split the cash with you." F hesitated. He needed money. His younger siblings lacked basic things, and his mother was struggling with debts. But deep down, he knew the truth. Once he stepped into Jonah's world, there would be no going back. F stared at the laptop screen, his hands hovering over the keyboard. Every fiber of his being screamed for him to stop, to walk away. But then he thought of his family, his mother struggling at her market stall, his father's weary eyes, his siblings wearing old, tattered clothes. Just one email, he told himself. Taking a deep breath, he typed. His words flowed effortlessly, crafting a story convincing enough to deceive anyone. When he finished, Timmy read it and smirked. "You're a natural." F swallowed the lump in his throat. He had just lied to a stranger for money. And worse, he was good at it. A week later, Jonah met F after school, grinning. "Check this out." He handed F an envelope. Inside was a stack of crisp Naira notes, his first cut. F's breath hitched. He had never held that much money before. "Easy money, bro," Jonah said. "No stress, no suffering." That evening, F bought groceries for his mother and paid some of his siblings' school fees. His parents were grateful, but his father eyed him suspiciously. "Where did you get this money?" "I got a side job helping a business write emails," F lied. His father nodded slowly, but the look in his eyes showed doubt. For the first time, guilt crept into F's heart. Was he really doing this for his family, or had greed begun to take hold of him? F's work for the group continued, and soon, he was making more money than he had ever imagined. But with money came arrogance. One day, he skipped school to go with Jonah to an expensive club. While flashing his new wealth, he didn't notice his teacher, Mr. Ade, sitting in the corner. The next morning, Mr. Ade called F to his office. "You were always my best student. Now, I hear whispers about you running with the wrong crowd. Tell me the truth, F." F looked down. "I'm just helping a friend, sir. It's nothing serious." Mr. Ade sighed. "Be careful, F. A bright future can disappear in a moment." F left the office shaken. Was he in too deep already? F noticed something strange. Jonah was changing. The money had gotten to his head. He spent recklessly, made enemies, and ignored warnings from the older fraudsters. One night, while at Timmy's apartment, a loud knock came at the door. Timmy opened it, and 3 masked men burst in with guns. "Where is the money, Jonah?" one of them barked. Jonah stammered. I don't have it yet." A gunshot rang out, hitting the wall beside him. F's blood ran cold. Timmy stepped forward. "Calm down. We'll get your money." The men glared, then left. Jonah turned to F. "We need to leave this place, now." For the first time, F realized this wasn't just about money anymore. It was life or death. F couldn't sleep. The gunshot kept replaying in his mind. He had thought this was just about emails and money, but now, he understood, this world was dangerous. The next morning, he avoided Jonah at school. He needed time to think. That evening, his father called him. "Son, I don't know what's happening, but I can see you changing. If you're doing something wrong, stop now before it's too late." F's chest tightened. His father didn't know the full truth, but his words cut deep. The next day, he met Jonah. "I'm out. I can't do this anymore." Jonah laughed. "Out? There's no out, F. You know too much." F's stomach twisted. He had made the wrong choice, and now he was trapped. F felt suffocated. Jonah's words echoed in his mind, "There's no out." He had only wanted to help his family, but now, he was trapped in a world where living wasn't an option. That night, he lay awake, formulating a plan. If he didn't get out now, he never would. The next morning, he avoided Jonah at school. He deleted all messages, erased his emails, and cut contact with the fraud ring. But Jonah wasn't going to let him go that easily. That evening, Jonah showed up at F's house, a forced smile on his face. "Bro, why are you avoiding me?" F swallowed hard. "I told you, I'm done." Jonah's face darkened. "You think it's that easy? The guys are watching you. If you run, they'll think you're a snitch. And you know what happens to snitches." F's blood ran cold. He needed to act fast before it was too late. F realized he couldn't escape alone. He needed help. But who could he trust? His parents would be devastated if they found out the truth. His teachers might report him. The police. They were known to take bribes from the very fraudsters he wanted to escape from. Then he thought of Mr. Ode. His teacher had always believed in him. The next day, F stayed behind after school. "Sir, I need help," he said, his voice shaking. Mr. Ode studied him carefully. "I'm listening." F hesitated, then confessed everything, how he had been dragged into Jonah's world, how he had written scam emails, how he now feared for his life. Mr. Ode took a deep breath. "F, this is serious. But it's not too late to turn back." F's chest tightened. "How?" Mr. Ade's expression hardened. "We need to take this to someone who can actually help." Jonah wasn't stupid. He sensed something was wrong when F refused to meet him after school. That night, Jonah sent a message, "I know you're planning something. Don't make me regret trusting you." F's hands trembled. He had seen what happened to people who crossed the fraud ring. Beatings. Disappearances. Sometimes worse. Mr. Ade had set up a meeting with a lawyer who worked with youth rehabilitation programs. "If you cooperate and confess, we might be able to protect you," Mr. Ode said. F nodded, but he felt like a traitor. Jonah was his best friend. They had grown up together, dreamed of success together. But the Jonah he once knew was gone. And if F didn't act now, he might be gone too. The next day, F agreed to meet Jonah one last time. He had to be careful. They met at an abandoned football field. Jonah leaned against his car, arms crossed. "You've been acting funny lately." F forced a smile. "I just needed time to think." Jonah eyed him suspiciously. "You didn't talk to anyone, did you?" F's heart pounded. "Of course not." Jonah sighed. "Good. Because if you did, you know what happens." F nodded, playing along. He needed Jonah to trust him long enough for Mr. Ade's contact to step in. He wasn't just saving himself, he was going to bring Jonah down with him. The next day, F met Mr. Ade's contact, a man named Barrister Kolu. "You need to give us real information if you want our protection," Kolu said. F hesitated, but then he told them everything, names, locations, the way the fraud operated. Kolu nodded. "This is enough to start an investigation. But you need to be careful. These people don't play." That night, F felt a weight on his chest. He had just betrayed his best friend. But was it really betrayal? Jonah had already betrayed him first, by dragging him into a life he never wanted. As F lay in bed, he knew there was no turning back now. The truth was coming for Jonah, whether he was ready or not. F knew he had done the right thing, but that didn't make him feel any safer. Jonah was unpredictable, and if he found out F had gone to the authorities, things could turn deadly. The next few days were tense. Jonah acted normal at school, laughing and joking like nothing was wrong. But F noticed the change. Jonah was watching him closely. Then, one evening, F received a message from an unknown number. "We know what you did. You can't hide forever." His hands shook as he read the words. The fraud ring was onto him. At that moment, F realized this wasn't just about escaping anymore. It was about surviving. Mr. Ode arranged for F to meet with the police. They had been gathering intelligence on cybercrime gangs, and F's testimony would be crucial. But the fraud ring wasn't going down without a fight. That evening, as F walked home, a black SUV slowed down beside him. The window rolled down, revealing Timmy's cold stare. "Get in," he ordered. F's heart pounded. He could run, but where? Before he could react, two men stepped out and grabbed him. He struggled, but they shoved him into the SUV and drove off into the night. F found himself in a dimly lit room, surrounded by Jonah, Timmy, and two other men. Jonah's face was unreadable. "You think you're smart, F?" Timmy asked, his voice dangerously calm. F swallowed. "I just wanted out." Jonah stepped forward. "And you thought selling us out was the way to do it?" F's chest tightened. "You dragged me into this, Jonah. I never wanted any of it." Jonah's jaw clenched. For a moment, it looked like he might defend F. But then Timmy pulled out a knife and placed it on the table. "You have two choices, F. Stay with us and prove your loyalty, or, well, you don't want to know the second option." F felt his world closing in. He had to think fast. Just as F prepared to speak, loud sirens pierced the air. Bang! The door burst open, and armed police officers stormed the hideout. "Everyone down," an officer shouted. F ducked as chaos erupted. Jonah tried to run but was tackled to the ground. Timmy reached for his weapon, but the officers were faster. Within minutes, the entire fraud ring was in handcuffs. Jonah looked at F, betrayal in his eyes. "You set me up." F felt a lump in his throat. "You set yourself up, Jonah." As the police led them away, F realized the nightmare was finally over. But at what cost? A week later, F sat in Mr. Ade's office, exhausted but relieved. The authorities promised him protection, and with his testimony, Jonah and the others would face justice. But despite everything, F felt no victory. He had lost his best friend. Mr. Ade patted his shoulder. "You made the right choice, F. Now, focus on rebuilding your future." F nodded. He had almost lost himself to greed, but now, he had a second chance. As he walked out of the office, he made a silent promise: he would work harder, graduate, and make something of himself, the right way. Because true success didn't come from deception. It came from integrity. And F was finally ready to start again.